Hello, this is Corey Tabor, founder and president of Triple I Coaching, where we are informing, instructing, and inspiring you to fulfill your purpose. I'm so excited today for our Thirsty Thursday video podcast to have my friend and brother Isaac Rowe joining us today. Isaac is the founder and CEO of The Man and Me, a nonprofit that we work together on. I do some development work with them, and he's kind of the beauty and the brains behind it. And so we'll talk a little bit about The Man and Me, but I wanted to start today by sharing our story, a little bit how we know each other. And then we're going to get into how you are beginning to, or continuing rather, to build strategic components of your organization and strategic components of what you do during this quarantine. So to tell the story about how Isaac and I really met. So Isaac lives down the street from me, and we found out we lived down the street from each other when we moved into our houses. A mutual friend told me, I think Isaac Rowe's in your neighborhood, and I had seen Isaac on social media. He had seen me on social media, but we had not actually met. And then when I asked him what his address was, it was literally 3 houses down from me. So I was like, hey man, we should get together. And so while I'm continuing to build my life and live my life, I'm going home to visit my dad. My dad's a pastor in Abilene, and goes to pastors of Church of God in Christ Church down there. And Isaac messages me, and he said, hey, do you know R.L. Williams? I'm like, yeah, R.L. Williams was like the pastor that I got saved under. Like, I was at his church for 7 years, 7 days a week. My dad was his assistant pastor. He's like, that's my granddad. I was like, shut up. And so then he goes on to tell me that my dad actually officiated his mom and dad's wedding. And so here we are 30 years later, doing work together, living on the same street, and we've been connected, from years. I remember you was telling me you remember me playing drums at the church.
Yeah, the church. Yeah.
That's so crazy, man. I mean, when they say it's a small world, bro, it is a small.
It definitely is. Yeah, it is. It is, man.
Yeah. So Isaac, I got viewers that tend to watch this from all over the country, some around the world. So tell us a little bit about yourself. When people ask you who is Mr. Isaac Rowe, how do you like to respond?
Okay. Absolutely. First of all, thank you. And thank you for having me on your Thirsty Thursday show. I appreciate you and everything that you got going on and Triple I Coaching. So thank you for the opportunity to actually be on here to be able to talk to everybody. I guess when I'm asked about, Isaac Rowe, I'm just like, I would say I'm a very driven and passionate individual, right? So there's a lot of things that I want to do in this life, and I feel like I could do these things. I really want to accomplish what I see in my heart and what God has me to do. And so if you pretty much ask me, I'm pretty much, if I see something and I believe it, I can be able to accomplish it. And so that's kind of like the gist of me in a sense, wrapped up in the short version in a sense. So
that's good, man. Yeah, that's good. I mean, what we do with Triple I Coaching, we're all about informing, instructing, and inspiring people to fulfill their purpose, informing them, giving them information they maybe haven't had before, instructing them, teaching them in a way that they can understand it, and then inspiring them, motivating them to go out and do it. And when I think about what you do specifically with The Man and Me, I feel like those are 3 things you guys have done. With The Man and Me documentary that came out last year, it exposed people to information about the role of fathers in ways that I've not seen done. It really taught them about the importance of a father and the importance of men in our society, which I think has been downplayed some. And then it motivated people. It made people want to go out and be better fathers, want to go out and be better mentors, be better pastors, be better men. And so what you're doing really lines up with a lot of what we're doing. As you talked about your motivation and your commitment to accomplishing what you feel like you want to do, how have you kind of personally benefited from this quarantine? Like, what are some ways that you and your family have benefited from us being in quarantine?
For one, I don't have to run around with my head cut off, so to speak. It's been a slow pace. In a sense that I don't have to be in different places. I don't have to be anywhere. I don't have to be someplace because there's nowhere to be. There's no function. There's no this. There's no that. So to really focus on family and making sure I'm I'm more actively involved because now I have there's nowhere to go, and so we got to be creative and innovative and make sure that we're keeping the whole house just running smoothly and just enriching our lives together. So I've been enjoying that time with the family, with my daughters and my wife. So and so in that, I'm able to think. I don't know if anybody else has felt that they feel like I can think better. I feel like I'm healing, making sure my mental capacity is being healed, because it's always being stretched in different areas, whether it's at work or I got this project or it's the business. And so, or it's people in general. And I feel like now my mind is like, and I'm a natural introvert, by the way. So for me to not talk to nobody is really good for me. So I'm like, oh, I don't want to talk to you, so I'll just sit here and just be in my own mind and my own thoughts. And so with that, I'm able to understand, what am I doing? Because I always move so fast. Then I'm like, okay, what did I do? What happened? I don't know what happened. I like move so fast. I'm like, so what do we do? I forgot. We did it, but like, why do we do it again? So I kind of like move like that. And so I've been able to go back and say, okay, what are we doing? What works? What didn't work? What are we doing right now? How do I feel about this? And being more introspective and who I am and what my purpose is. And so I've defined it more this week. It was very powerful. So I'm really excited about what the next thing. So the vision got bigger. So for me, I was able to get clarity and really focus on what's going on inside of me and what my purpose is. And now the vision expanded. So I'm really excited about that. So that's pretty much how I've been benefiting from this whole COVID experience. I know a lot of people are struggling in financial aspects and, dealing with people who have the COVID-19. My aunt and uncle have it. So it's just, I benefited just from my family and being able to get that peace that I've been probably needing and healing. So
I got you.
Question.
Yeah, so I've been knowing, man. I've been noticing that you've been producing a lot during this time. You got a writing project you're working on, some video projects you're working on. So tell us a little bit about, one, what you've been working on, and then two, what is the mindset you've had that has allowed you to be so productive in this time? Share that with our viewers.
See, I have a lot of projects, as you just mentioned. So I feel like once I finish one, another one pops up. So it's always one in the queue. There's always one in the hole. So I got the next film project that I'm working on. Is kind of focusing on women sharing their stories mostly, and their relationship with their father. And so now, as I get everything together, I'm getting submissions in from the ladies who want to be a part of. We will be shooting and we will be actively involved in their lives for the ones who will be selected. And so, and that just happened like in, I think, a week. And then I'm already getting some submissions. So when I made up my mind, and this is the principle, right? I made up my mind that this is what I wanted to do. I immediately took action, and I spent a lot of time, late nights, really praying and seeing like what this is supposed to be. And as long as I had it on, and I needed to get it on paper, and I needed to make sure that the people who will be involved in this film know what we're doing. And so I had to understand what I am doing and then what they needed to do. Since it's going to be different, and this is my second film, I'm trying to figure out like full film, like how I'm going to do all these different aspects. Yeah, so
let's talk about that real briefly before we move on to the next project. So
yeah.
A couple of things you share. One is getting it down on paper. Research shows we are 42% more likely to accomplish our goals if you write them down. There's something about writing it down. For some people, physically writing it in a book. For other people, typing it out. in a file, just getting it on paper takes it from being an idea and a thought to being a reality. And it actually holds us accountable to getting it done. The second thing you said was some late nights, that it takes time to do this. And a lot of times it has to be when other people are sleeping, when other people are resting, when other people are relaxing. People that are going to be able to kind of go from good to great have to make those sacrifices. It doesn't mean that we don't take care of our health, because you are very health conscious. I've seen your health journey. But it means that, sometimes you got to make a decision. Like, okay, I'm going to sleep 8 hours a day. I'm going to sleep 4, and I'm going to get this knocked out. And then tomorrow I'll sleep 6. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think many people think they can have it all and do everything that everybody else is doing at the same time. And the reality is you can't. You got to make a decision. And so, you talked about getting it set in your mind, what you want to do, get it down on paper, and then some of the sacrifice that has to be made. And then the fourth thing you did that was so significant was you just immediately took action. Too many people talk themselves out of what they want to do in the process of getting ready to do it. It's like, man, just pull the trigger. You know what I'm saying? Like, I tell people all the time, I wrote a book in 2 weeks. And the reason I wrote a book in 2 weeks is because I decided to write a book in 2 weeks. I just said, you know what? My wife's going out of town for a couple of weeks, and I don't have to be present in that relationship. I got on the bus. I rode the bus to work. I rode the bus home. I stayed up till 2 or 3 o'clock every morning. I wrote and I said stuff to my editor, and I had the first draft done in 2 weeks. They were like, well, didn't you feel like, there were things you wanted to improve, things you wanted to do better? I was like, yeah, there's always improvement, but it's all about getting it out. And once you get it out, you can do the edits and all that kind of stuff. Michael Hyatt's an author. He ran Tyndale Publishing for a long time. And I did a class that he had on, writing for the busy person or whatever. And one of the things he said is that you cannot write and edit at the same time, because it's using two different sides of your brain. You got your right side of your brain, which is creative. So you literally just got to get it all out.
Get it all out.
Then go back and do the editing part. That's the left side of your brain, the logical piece. And so those are great principles, man, that have helped you to kind of move forward with this project for the ladies. So tell me, what else about that project are you excited about? And then what other projects are you working on?
Definitely excited about that project. So I do have some different things I want to do with kind of, I don't know if I'm implemented in this one, but it's more of a finding father type deal. So I'm kind of like doing a little bit of like some DNA testing and finding father type stuff. A lot of people want to know some information or know who their father is. So kind of going into that. So that's something I'm working on right now. I'm working on a collaborative book right now, a project. So I got a lot of submissions from some guys in the community and stuff like that. And we're putting together a whole compilation collaboration book about manhood, fatherhood, identity, and purpose. So putting that together, as well as now we got a plan for the conference that we have every year that we're going to do it virtually. So I got to definitely figure out how that's going to be and what the speakers are going to, who the speaker's going to be and how we're going to set it up and all that good stuff. And that's coming up as well. So so we're going to be able to do the cookout. So there's a lot of things that we normally would have be doing, but we're not doing. So a lot of things will be virtually. What else we got? I don't know what
Talk
else.
to me about this real quickly. I've been thinking about all the things you've done that have been so successful. And what advice would you give someone who has ideas, but they just don't know where to start? I mean, they're like, man, I got these ideas in my brain. I don't even know where to start. You've been an idea generator, and then you've been an idea implementer. So talk to us about when you don't know where to start, what do you do?
Because some people probably think that I woke up and I was just like this, but people who know me know I'm kind of like on that beast mode tip of getting stuff done. But before I was always just an idea person, and I never would do anything. I never would do anything. And I was that person. I was just like, I went to school, I'm in work, I'm going to do this. And, I got this whole plan out. Like, I'm going to take care of this and do this and this car and this, apartment, a bachelor pad and all this kind of stuff, And one of my friends, he was like, I had all these ideas. He's like, and he kind of, he kept listening, and he's been my friend since we were in high school. And so we're older now. He's just like, you had, I think it was right out of college. He said, you have all these ideas, but you don't never do anything with them. And that hurt me to my core.
Yeah, it did.
It hurt me to my core. And he wasn't being mean about it. Like, he's my boy, you're right. He wasn't being, he was just listening. He's like, you know what? He just noticed. You have a lot of ideas, but you just like saying ideas, but you don't do nothing. And I was like, you don't do nothing with them. I was like, I don't. And then that hit me, and I was like, okay, how do I take this idea into action? You know, how do I take this thought that I have into something tangible that I can see? And this is the thing, don't share all your ideas with everybody. That's one of the things. Don't share all your ideas. Some of your family, some of your friends might not take your business idea, to heart. They might just really just squash it. And they're dream killers. We don't want to give it to toxic people and dream killers. No, you know what I'm saying? Let's make sure we put that in there. If you know that someone, they haven't been that supportive, don't share that with them, because it would definitely deter you to not go forward with that idea and that thought. And make sure the idea that you do have is, just because you have an idea doesn't mean you should operate on it. That's another thing. Make sure that the idea or thought that you have, where is the root? Where is it coming from? Where is it coming from? Is it becoming because I'm envious of other people, of that person? Is it because I think it's something cool to do and I just really want to do it? Or is it because it's going to be some type of financial gain? Is it going to be because I am, this is mine? Is it purposeful for me to do it? Is it something that I desire for me to do? And what is my connection to that thing? So before I operated, I wanted to see, like, what are all the ideas that I have? What do I really want to do? And which one of these are most closest to my heart, that I'm most passionate about? Because if I choose something of an idea that I have that I just want to make money on it, if it's not making money, I'm not really passionate about it. I'm not going to invest so much into it, because it's not really something I really want to do. I'm not really passionate about it. I don't have a desire really for that. I just had an idea. So how do you have that idea? Is the idea now a vision now? Is it a dream? Is it connected to you? Is it a passion? And then kind of figuring out what that really is, and then be like, okay, now the next step is, after I see what it is and what the idea is and I want to do, let me do research on it. Let me do research.
That's a step that a lot of people miss.
Yeah, let me do research on it.
To find out what have other people done, what has worked, what hasn't worked, and learn from history so they don't repeat it. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I started Man and Me, I was like, in 2009, I started researching, like, the things, and note, when I started Man and Me, I wasn't a father. And I help fathers, and I help at the city and state level, and I help all around, right? And provide services. And you think about, like, I was like, no, like, I wasn't a father. I was a man of passion, desire, and a driven person to get something done, because something that was inside of me, I had an idea, and I said, I don't like this. What am I going to do about it? Well, I don't know really what I want to do. I know I need to do something, right? And then I started researching what different things, and why do you do this? Does it need to be a nonprofit? Does it just be an organization? Does it have to be a group? What other people are doing? Where is your part in this? And so then I would start researching. After I was researching, I talked to some people, and I try to figure out, okay, well, this is possible, and this is possible, and this is possible. And where is my lane? Where is your lane? So where is your lane? Because not everybody, we go to, like, church, run church. Not everybody is a pastor, and not everybody can preach. you know, and not everybody need a building, and not everybody need to have a TV mega ministry and all this type of stuff. Like, just because that's a nice thought and an idea doesn't mean that you're supposed to be that.
Right. And
You know what I'm
everybody
saying?
that can preach can't pastor. And some people
You
can
know,
pastor, but they can't really preach.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
Find your lane.
You gotta find your lane, you know. So it's like finding your lane. Where are you gonna be at? And once that idea, you be like, look, I'm gonna research. I'm gonna put something into action. And then after I research and done my homework, I'm like, okay, this is me. This is my lane, and I'm gonna push the button. I'm gonna push the button. And so when you push the button, I'm gonna be like, okay, let's go ahead and do this. And what I did was took action on that. I said, look, on this day, right? On this day, at this time, we are going to do X, Y, and Z.
Yep. And then you make yourself
do it. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. That's steps right there. It's like, you said you're going to do that. And then some people like to say, well, we don't have enough money. Do with what you have. Do with what you have. Don't try to be like, oh, I need all this money. No, you need to do it. The money isn't the issue. You know what I'm saying? My uncle always tell me, he said, the money is the issue. And I didn't understand that. He's like, no, this is the issue. Because if you know inside of you that this is what you need to do, the provision will be made. The provision will be made. And it's not about the money. You got to do with what you have. So if you got $20, do what that $20 is going to do. I'm going to have some water. I'm going to have some granola. I'm going to set up some chairs. I'm going to have mismatched barber chairs. I'm going to have, you know, a sofa I found on the street because it was free. Whatever that is to make this happen. And now I have my first meeting and 50-something guys show up. First meeting. Why? Because I just took action. I'm not a minister. I'm not like a big person like that. I'm just a dude who had a vision, and I had a thought. I had an idea, and I wasn't a father, and I wanted to help men and fathers. That's it. And I just put it into action.
That's good, man. I mean, it's so important. Like you said, stay away from the dream killers. Everybody doesn't understand your vision. Everybody doesn't understand it. I've done that in the past. I've shared with people because I'm so passionate. I just shared too much of the idea up front, and before you know it, they talked me out of it. Now here I am years later, you know, implementing what I was going to do years ago. And then I think it's too important to start with what you have. You know, my business coach tells me all the time. He says, all the time people tell me they don't have the money to do this, or I don't have enough to do this. And he said, you're telling your brain and your subconscious what you can't do. He said, don't say, I don't have it. Say, okay, how can I get it?
How can I get it?
And it starts literally working with your body, your subconscious. All of that works together to bring about the materialization of what you need, you know? And so that's so important. I'm going to ask you this last question as we close out. What do you do when something you planned has so-called failed? Now, I don't believe in failure anymore. I believe in growth opportunities, learning opportunities. But for a lot of people, when they quote unquote fail, it literally throws them off their rocker and they take their ball and they go home. So what do you do when something that you planned has so-called failed, according to what your standards of success would be? Yeah,
that's interesting because everybody's definition of success and failure could be completely different. I guess go with success. My definition of success to me is if I am operating out of my purpose and who I am as why I'm here on this earth, no one can tell me anything. Feel me? Like nobody can tell me I'm not successful because I'm not operating in who I am in the fullness of me. So there's a lot of people who are not doing that and they're just working. Just because you got money, you can have financial success. But for success to me is that I am here for a purpose and a reason, and I'm fulfilling that. So that's defined success. Now, money and all that, you know, financial success does help, and it would be nice. But failure, to me, I've had a lot of L's. I've had a lot of L's, and one of the things I've been able to do is, for me, is accept I failed. I failed at executing my vision, what I saw, right? And I had to fully embrace it. And that's for me, I had to fully embrace that failure because I didn't do some things. I missed some things. some things that I didn't see. And if I'm doing something for the first time or the second time or the third time, sometimes it got worse than the second time than the first time. And I'm like, dang it, what happened? Who are the people in place? Did I even give them the correct instructions? What was I going through? And so there's a lot of things I'm like, man, what was I doing to make this flop like this? What did I do? And was it just me, or was it other entities that weren't in place? So it made me flop and take that L, and I lost money. And I lost money. I've lost thousands of dollars. I've lost thousands of dollars. It is a learning opportunity. However, I do celebrate my failures, not as well as my successes, but I do embrace those. I do embrace those and celebrate, you know what, I did fail, and I'm kind of beat myself up a little bit, and I lost money. How many more times am I going to take this L? Like, do I desire it? Do I really want it to happen? At all costs, do I still want it to happen? Is it supposed to happen? And then at some point, am I gonna be like, hey, if it's not making business sense now for my family, then I'm like, okay, I lost $2,000 on this. I'm not gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna do it. Even though I want to do it, I'm not gonna go this angle. What I'm gonna do is figure out what's making money, what's already going that I already have. And just because I have another idea to do something else, it's a good idea. But even though I was passionate, I was doing it, it's just not, sometimes it's not that right time. It's not that right trend. It's not that right season. So it's not that it's not good. It didn't produce the results that you thought it was supposed to produce. And I had to take that L. I'm like, I did it this many times. It's not doing well as I thought it was going to be. It's not that it's not good. It's not that it didn't help people. But for me, from my energy, from my time, from my team's sake, I got to make a leadership, I got to say OG call and be like, hey, I can't do this anymore. We're not going to do this anymore because this takes so much money out of this and it's not producing back what I need. So I did get some good footage. I did get this, I did get that, but that was a lot of money that I spent that is not beneficial. So for me, failure, I fully embrace failure. I understand and I learn from the failure, but I do accept that this did not work. This did not work. This did not work. And if I see the pattern of this not working, I got to say, how much do I desire for this to keep going? And is it deeper than what I'm surfacely thinking? Is it a God thing? Is it, is it something I just need to stay consistent with because this is who I am and my purpose? Obviously, I've almost completely shut down Man in Me. Nobody really knows this, but I would almost shut it down because the thing about it is that I'm consistently doing, but I'm not seeing what God showed me. And so I'm like, well, what do you, I thought you, and I'm having this conversation and it wasn't even about like that. It was about me being in my position. It was about me being faithful to that. And I was thinking I had to spend all this money at the time, right? Or I had to, do it this way because this is how it needs to be done. It was like, no, you don't really have to do that. Do what you do and do it in a way that's going to be effective and make it move. You mean to tell me you need all this to make it move? And so I'm being challenged, right? So you don't need all that. Just do what you need to do to make it happen. So it's just kind of a relationship thing between that. But I almost did quit and stop the whole thing and shut the whole thing down. And, and then after that, I think I was like a couple of years in, we got a contract. And so then the contract grew and it continued. And now we're at $500,000, 5-year deal. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I think it's like, dang, I could have quit. You know what I'm saying? I could have quit. And it's just like, how many L's did I take? How many take L? I was like, it wasn't a big L in no sense, because it wasn't like a lot of money. But some of the other things I tried to do while I was doing it, I thought it was good ideas, didn't work. And so what I went back to my roots and what was I doing that I am supposed to do that's really more down to the core of it. It's still in the scope, it still helps, but kind of stay in my lane and make sure I'm hitting what I need to be hitting, because then that comes more provision, more resources. And so, yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that's good, man.
I
mean, two things I'll take from it. One, perseverance. You know, sometimes you just got to persevere, and that's biblical. We read that in the scriptures where, you know, this woman just kept knocking on a person's door until they came to the door. And that's true. Sometimes you just got to persevere, and it's not about what you produce on the back end as much as it is the character development that's going to prepare you for the next thing. And then the other thing I heard that was really important is just the reflection on the failures. I think a lot of times people will try to pass blame and they won't take ownership for the part that they did. Like, you know, I'm in a new role now, working with a nonprofit, and we're raising money. And I'm like, man, I got some of what I wanted done, but I missed some deadlines that didn't let me get where I ultimately wanted to be. And if you can reflect on that, okay, why did that happen? Well, I didn't set aside enough time to execute this. It takes more time to do what it takes to do than what you think it's going to take most times. So if you think it's going to take you 2 hours, you probably need to plan 4 to 5. If you think it's going to take you a day, you probably need to plan 3 or 4. Having that margin of time, just like you have a margin in a budget, is important to being able to execute what you want to do. And so, man, I really appreciate you coming on the show today. I feel like everything you shared has been so significant and helpful. And my hope is that not only will people watch this when we show it live, but also that they will watch the replay, you know, and share it with others, because these principles that you shared are really strategic in helping people to get to where they want to go. So, man, keep doing what you're doing. I'm proud of you. Glad to know you.
Thank you.
Glad we're connected. And let's keep changing the world, bro.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
All
right.
right.
Well, this is Corey Tabor with Triple I Coaching, where we informing, instructing, and inspiring you to fulfill your purpose. Keep following us on Thirsty Thursdays at CoreyTabor.com/TT.